questions that lie there in that old curiosity shop.
Well, here's hoping this will cheer you up. So springtime is here, although that might have gotten lost in last week's news. It's here, and I sort of couldn't wait to dig out a few springtime things to show you, but first we'll zoom in and say today's cup of coffee.
A cup of coffee, a sandwich, and you, a cozy corner, a table for two.
Is brought to you by the Hazel Atlas Company. Now that's a piece of, well, it's the Ovid pattern, and it's their platinite glass, which is sort of like a milk glass. You've seen it before, though. We get a look underneath, it's completely white. And they did many different variations, fired on colors and interesting combinations of colors from the late 30s through the 40s. Behind it are two matching Hall vases, Hull, and it's great to have a matching pair of them. I think I'm actually going to sell these. I really think I am. None of this over here is for sale. It's just a little bit of my springtime collection. I pulled out my 1930s German papier-mâché Easter egg, which you saw last year. Here's a Lefton bunny in a matte finish, a very realistic bunny. And then just a few weeks ago, you saw me thrift that nice pink lusterware vase made in, I don't remember whether it's Czechoslovakia or Germany. I believe Czechoslovakia. I don't often find pink lusterware vases with no other decoration on them, so I went with that. And yes, we do have some things blooming here, but we have to go with these artificials because I have a very curious geriatric cat who would clearly decide at about 3 o'clock in the morning that he had missed his vocational call and would discover that he should have been a flower arranger, and that would have probably taken place at 3 o'clock in the morning if we had real flowers. The cat does not mess with these, and that means I get to sleep all night, and I do not wake up in the morning with a treat of cat vomit mixed with forsythia petals. That will probably be the only video you'll ever watch where you hear the word cat vomit and forsythia petals mixed in the same sentence. Well, this is what it's come to. I've had to move my state packing area into the living room. Well, that's okay. You can see what I'm doing. Here's all the packing materials, the boxes. And there's my supervisor keeping watch over his servant by night. Hello, Salem. Oh, you gonna stretch? You gonna come down here and supervise? Okay. Playing 80s music on the big old radio. Diet Dr. Pepper. Listen, I'm sequestered. I can drink Diet Dr. Pepper. That's all they had left. Yep, this is what's happening. And, well, I'll just get back to what I have to do. What are you guys doing today? No, I didn't buy those packing peanuts. They were donated. Don't worry. I try to protect the environment. See, I'm using all my paper bags. Those are recyclable.
Well, I'll say no more. But I promise you one thing. This is a thriller.
well, has he gone and lost his mind? What kind of a kitchen counter thrift haul is that? Well, obviously I'm back at work in the lamp repair shop. Now I'm all sequestered here in Center City, Philadelphia, so I'm dealing with a limited amount of supplies because I'm not able to make it over to the garage in New Jersey. So we're going to piece this lamp together and do the best we can with what we've got. And you know, hey, this is just the variety show, I guess. I promised you videos every day this week, and I'm just going to be jumping around from this and that, and hopefully it's a bit of silly entertainment for you and a little bit of a diversion. Keep you going, keep your spirits up. I can at least try to do that. So before I get into this lamp repair, let me just say thank you everyone who watches, old subscribers, new subscribers. I read all your emails, I read all your comments. I appreciate you being with me. My afternoon snack, I'm munching on after dinner mints. You see those in a nice restaurant-ware dish. And I'm drinking ginger ale. Why am I snacking on after dinner mints? Hey folks, I have no reason. I just like them. And it's only 1:30 in the afternoon. Alright, you saw a long time ago this, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show you everything, and then I'm going to put the camera on a stabilized easel, so to speak, and then I'll let you see what I'm going to do. But just to give you a close-up, this is what we're going to turn back into a lamp. Somebody asked me about lamp kits. I don't buy lamp kits. I recycle, and I have been recycling, as you can see, little bits and bobs. How do you like this wonderful swirled Bakelite plastic container here? Don't you like that? So some of this is stuff that my dad collected 50 years ago, and I've continued the collection. Old sockets and knobs and cords and wires and things and lamp parts, you can see. Down here in this box, lots of goodies. I never really know what that actually says on the top. Patented October 26th, 1915. And then over here, lots of finials and more lamp parts. And here as well. So I don't have exactly what I want, but I think I'm going to be able to piece together enough to make this a respectable little lamp. So let's get this camera stabilized, and we'll come back. Okay, so as I said, I have limited supplies here, but I'm going to make it work. And then if I decide later I want to revamp this, I will. Now what I have here is a piece of glass. It is a lamp base, and at first glance you might think, oh, that's the bottom to an old Victorian oil lamp. But it's actually something made in the 1930s. They were still making occasional lamps, bedroom lamps, and so forth in a Victorian style. Believe it or not, companies were making quote-unquote Victorian reproductions in the 1930s. And this just sort of harkens back to an old-fashioned hurricane lamp base or oil lamp base. But it's clear glass that has this satiny frosted applied blue color. And this is how it was made. And so we're going to put it back into an electric lamp, which would be really nice really anywhere in your house. Now, out of the parts that I had to, first of all, make decisions how I'm going to cap the top off, and that's just not going to work. These are not the type of, these are from the 20s, and these actually screw onto a socket, and these hang down from a ceiling. So that's not appropriate either. All right, that's not bad. Let me get a little closer so you can you see that? I think you can see it. That's not that bad. Obviously I would clean that up before using it, but I have decided to go with something much smaller, and I think this is what would have been on here originally. That doesn't quite fit, but that does, and that's what I've decided to go with. Now, what I haven't done is cleaned that up yet, so I'm going to dip in here to grab out a little piece of 000 steel wool. sent to me by a subscriber, actually. And I'm going to clean this off. I'm going to be off camera just a minute, but take a look at how grody that is. We used to say grody in the 1980s. Remember that? Now you can't really see what I'm doing, but I'm going to be scrubbing this with this steel wool and getting off some of the rust, and I'll show you what it looks like. Now you do have to be careful with steel wool like this because tiny pieces will fall off, and boy, you do not want to step on one or get a splinter of steel wool. Trust me, I've done it. I should be wearing gloves, but I'm not. I'll just show you quickly, I hope this comes up on the camera, how it's beginning to bring it up. You see how nice it looks on this side? And we're still very rusty over here. All right. I'm not trying to make it look brand new. You know me, I'm conservative with my restorations. If it's 80 years old, I want it to look 80 years old, but aging gracefully and not covered in rust and too much tarnish. Alright, I've done what I think I want to do to that. How does that look? Does that meet with everyone's approval? Is that in the, you can see that. Pop that on there so that we don't have any rust on it now, or really oxidation is what I should say. So I'm happy with that. Now, this lamp doesn't have a solid base. We could put one on it, but there's no reason to do that. So the center rod that I'm going to use is going to be a very small one, and what I should do is put a washer, a rubber washer on this, which I don't really have, but I will put a metal washer on here just to separate. I don't even know if I'm in the camera. I'm going to put this on just to protect the underside of this glass, and go up inside. Okay, that's going to work perfectly. Now if you look inside, you see it? It's held in place. Very nice. As I said, a felt washer should be used, or a rubber washer. I may go back and replace it later. This is good enough for jazz. Get my hand up in there. We see this is going to fit right over the top, our decorative cap. And then I have decided, is this what I'm going to use? I think I'll raise up the socket just a little bit. So you know what? I've changed my mind. I have changed my mind, I think. Well, wait a minute. Maybe I haven't changed my mind. As you can see, this is not rehearsed. Well, you know, I can always go back and change it later if I don't like the look. Alright, back up inside there. Come on now. Don't give me trouble today. Alright, I'm holding it in place. And I'm going to put the cap on. And I'm going to do nothing else to it except attach the bottom to the socket. Now I need to lower this so that there is room. Okay, that's not doing what I want it to do. Hold on, folks. I think that's going to work. Alright, that's as far down as I want to go. So now I'm going to tighten it from the bottom, which I can feel, but you can't see. Now I'm not going to tighten it too hard or I'll break the glass, crack the glass, which I don't want to do. Alright, that's okay. Now, some of you are saying, oh my goodness, well, Let me just show you. Before I put the innards to the socket in, let's just gently put this on. And I'm going to put, I know it's upside down. I did that for a reason. I don't want to lock it in place. I'm just going to put that on. And I want you to see that that's what we're going to wind up with. So we're going to have a socket with it that you can push off and on with the light bulb on the top. There are a lot of other things that I could have done. Obviously, it's going to be a large light bulb, not this little tiny thing. And then what you end up using is a shade with a clip-on attachment such as this. That's a choice I'm going to make. I could also very easily put a decorative riser, so to speak, and have the socket higher. But I don't want to do that. I want the shade lower, to sit low. I could use a harp, but I'm choosing not to use a harp because I don't want to put a big shade on this. Again, if it ends up looking wacky, I'll redo the whole thing. We could even use a piece like this in the center to raise the socket up just a bit. And in fact, I'm starting to think I might want to raise that socket up just a tad. So let me go in there, take this off, and let's see here. What does that mean that I want to do? That means I want to put this piece on. Now, this is just a piece that I have, collected, as I said. I know my metals aren't matching here. I've got nickel, and I've got brass, but you're going to get the idea. All right, I'm trying to stay in camera. I think it's tight enough. And then I'll put my socket here. I think that's going to look a little bit, just raise the socket up just a little bit off of the base of the top of the lamp. Okay. That's as tight as I want it. Doesn't need to be any tighter than that because I do not wish to break it. The glass. Now the socket that I'm using is a nickel plated one. They did have nickel plated sockets in the 1930s, which is about where this lamp dates. I'd rather use a brass socket, but I don't have one, so we're going to go with this. I think the metals don't exactly match, but that's what I'm going to do for today. Okay, now I am going to use a recycled cord. There's nothing wrong with this cord. It's a little hokey pokey, but I'm going to use it anyway. On really nice lamps that I consider to be expensive and very, very decorative, I would be using a much better cord than the one that I am. And I'll end up rewiring this anyway because, as you can see, we have a thumb clicking on-off switch, which we don't need because we have the on-off switch here. And this is just going to be up inside anyway. But again, I'm simply doing this to give you the idea of what you can do at home with rewiring lamps. And when I am afforded additional lamp parts, I will probably rework this lamp. Well, we'll see what it looks like. All right, the electric wire is up. And that on-off can just sit there. Now, another interesting thing that you could do is to also take a socket and put it inside the base of the lamp, screwed in upside down. So in other words, you have a socket like this on the inside of the lamp, and you have a dual switch so you can turn on and illuminate this beautiful blue base. That would be nice. That might be what I do. That's a more complicated bit of surgery. I might do that the next time to show you. Now, I've already gone over how to make sure you're wiring your lamps correctly in another video, I don't know, maybe last summer, where we talked about the hot and the ground. And so I'm not going to go through all that, but yeah, I'm not going to go through all that in this video, just to speed it up here. I'm not sure if you can see what I'm doing or not. I think I have to. Okay. But you do want to make sure that if you're using a polarized plug, that the ground goes to the hot goes to the hot and the ground goes to the earth, just that you're for safety. And if you want to see me do that, I think it's when I was wiring another lamp, the Femme Fleur lamp last summer. All right, that's in. There is the cardboard insulator inside the socket, which is important. And I'm going to lower this on. I don't even think I have a shade in here that would be appropriate for this. But I'll look around and see if I can find one, just to let you see. All right, so we're going to pull it down and it will snap in place. Which it's not snapping quite yet. All right, we're in. Now, I'm going to take this silly little light bulb, which is the wrong size, put that in there, plug the thing in, and we'll see what we get. All right, that light bulb is burnt out. I think. It is. All right, I need to get myself another light bulb. Hold on for a second. Fear not, because I have another silly little green light bulb. Try that one. All right. Pause. You big dummy! I know you were shouting at me. I know exactly what I did. Let's plug it back. Well, let's put one of the light bulbs in. Oh my, you gotta love it. Do you know what I did? You know what I did, right? Okay, there we go. Isn't that exciting? All of that just for that? How come it wasn't working? You big dummy, you forgot there's an on-off switch underneath, which really is not supposed to be there, but there it is. All right, let's turn that light off, and let's turn, what am I doing here? Let's turn this light off, and this light off, and there it is. So, not a difficult thing to do, and not the most elegantly wired. Gonna redo that later. Maybe even put a different socket on here, but I just wanted to, I guess, show you what you could do with a flea market find or a yard sale find. This piece of glass is in really good shape. It's got a nice little angelic face right there. Wouldn't you like to wake up and see that on your bedstand, nightstand? And now we're gonna see, let me see if I can find a lampshade. I'll be right back. Well, there it is. Now, I know the shade is too big. Ignore the shade, all right? Gotcha. But you get the idea. Now, I think that looks pretty darn good. Just with an appropriate size shade. But wouldn't it look really neat if I put a light bulb inside of this and illuminated that? Actually, that might be kind of scary to see that glowing on your bedside table, but I don't know. It's not that bad. You'll notice I also removed the thumb on and off screw and put on one that sort of resembles an old-fashioned key or oil lamp. Now, this is hokey pokey and it's not my best work, so I'm probably going to refigure that. But I just thought I would share with you what I was tinkering on this afternoon. What are you tinkering on this afternoon? Jigsaw puzzles? Word searches? I hope you don't spend all your time on Netflix. You know, don't you have, you know, like kitchen shelf paper you can replace? Let's see if I do. Oh, that one doesn't even have any shelf paper. Well, that one does. What's for dinner tonight? Looks like we're having sauerkraut and oyster crackers. All right, enough of that. Hey everyone, I'm Scott from the Old Curiosity Shop, keeping myself busy, hoping you are too. Thanks for watching. I'll be back tomorrow with the answer to those mystery items I showed you yesterday. So, stay tuned. So long for now.